'Tis been a while since I've assembled and reviewed a new place for you to park your back and crack, a gaming or office chair, which are no stranger to the channel. We've seen them big, we've seen them small, we've seen them tall, we've seen them fall, we've seen them this way, we've seen them that way, we've seen them spin, we've seen me grin, we've seen me win. I never lose. I don't know where I was going with that. Boulies. Today we're going to be unboxing, setting up, and reviewing the Boulies Master Series, a chair that comes in 2 sizes, 3 materials, and a handful of colors. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm finally sitting in it, and I have some thoughts of my own. Let's get it. A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes, this chair was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it, so if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're going to hear about it. See, these companies make better products over time. Now, to alleviate any confusion around this chair, or actually cause a little bit more, it does come in 2 different sizes. You do have a big and tall model called the Max, which is only $40 more and is quite a bit larger, so I think that price difference is definitely well worth it, even if you aren't a larger individual and you don't need the big and tall model. I still recommend going for the Max rather than the typical Master 2024 edition that I'm reviewing today. If you go with the Master that I'm reviewing today, you do have 3 different options of upholstery. You have the water repellent fabric, the cloth, if you will, that my chair is upholstered in. Then you have the Ultraflex PU, which is an artificial leather. Think of it like pleather, leatherette style material. Then you have Napa leather, which is substantially going to increase the price, but it is indeed authentic Napa leather. Very nice. Soft, supple, smells delicious. We've reviewed chairs with Napa leather on the channel previously. I love them premium materials. That Napa leather and that suede or Alcantara makes you feel like you're in a luxury car or something. That's something to keep in note. These chairs do range in price pretty vastly from $400 all the way to $660. So I think that's the biggest price gap I've seen within one model family just by going with different sizes or materials. It looks like they've got a little Black Friday promotion. Make sure you lock that in at checkout. And real quick, some of the key features I want to point out on the landing page because they actually do apply to the chair in practice when you're parking your back and crack. And it first of all is going to be the round edge cushion design. What this means is that it's a lot less aggressively bolstered. So unlike a racing seat, a bucket seat, if you will, you're not whipping corners in the track. You're just sitting your big ass down on an office chair playing some video games while you're eating Doritos. So you really don't need that aggressive bolstering holding you in place unless you prefer that feeling of being held in snugly, a hug from your chair. But for a lot of people, that makes them feel claustrophobic or just not very comfortable in a chair. And you're not going to have that here. You do have customizable integrated lumbar support with these 2 knobs or dials. I'm going to mention it now and elaborate on it further in detail later. These don't really do much of anything. One knob did virtually nothing, where I swear to God, it did nothing at all. And the other one that's supposed to be for the height of the lumbar really only moved the adjustment pillow up about a ½ inch inside the fabric. So this is really just a marketing gimmick, something to slap on the box because in practice, it doesn't work like other chairs that have real adjustable lumbar support. And that was a huge con or downside with this chair. But bouncing back with a nice juicy pro is going to be the 4D armrest. So you do have 4 ways of adjustment: front, back, side to side, and angled, which is fantastic. And they also do feel very durable. The only thing I wasn't a huge fan of is that the armrest material is kind of a cheap rubber in comparison to a soft, supple, satiny material, which you can dig your bony elbows into on other chairs. One thing I really did like was the easy assembly, as most of the hardware is already pre-installed. You just loosen them, line them up, retighten them up. And you notice this with a lot of high-end chairs. Generally, the more expensive an office or gaming chair is, the more pre-assembled it's going to be. It's going to have higher quality hardware, better nuts and bolts and washers, better included tools, a better instruction manual, and most importantly, you really don't need to do much. The armrest might already be installed. Maybe the wheels might already be installed on the base to cut down on your assembly time and get you sitting in your chair. As where when you buy a cheapo chair, for example, I started on a generic $80 Amazon gaming chair. It didn't even have a name. It was just like the Amazonian special. That thing came, I'm surprised I didn't have to upholster the thing myself, stripped down to the nuts and bolts. It was in no shit like 60 pieces, as where this chair was in, picture on screen here of the assembly process, maybe like 8 or 9 pieces. This chair does have dynamic tilt rocking function, which means you can rock it back and forth and you can lock it in its rocked or unrocked position. So if you want to rock back and then lock it, it'll keep you locked back. And keep in mind, that's a separate adjustment from the reclining feature. So you can really lay out flat if you rock it back and then recline as well. Try and take a nap or something. Now, depending on the material, whether you went with that cloth fabric or the Ultraflex synthetic leather, there is a little blurb about this material. And I really do like that because it does seem like there was some R&D, research and development in these materials. It's not just like, hey, what is the cheapest cow's hide we can wrap our chairs in? It says right here, countless iterations. I don't know if they're just blowing smoke up our bums with this marketing, but it works for me. It makes me feel like this is a high quality chair. And the cloth fabric is actually treated with a water repellent. So think of it like kind of Scotch Guard, which you can put on work boots and stuff, or your Carhartt work jacket to kind of repel the rain a little bit. That's on here. Am I going to test it by spilling a Dr. Peppy on this chair? No, because I don't really drink soda, but I'm not going to spill my water on here either. Just believe that it's going to repel some water, like I repel the haters in the comment section. As for the wheels, or casters as they call them, it's one of those split designs, stationary in the middle, but then has two rotating wheels on either side. It moved pretty smooth across my low pile carpet, quiet, although they do not feel the best. They're really cheap and plasticky, and I feel like these aren't the most durable. I did not get that impression from the aluminum base. That thing was a solid piece of steel and could probably stop small arms fire from point blank range. But one little issue I did have is with the class 4 gas lift, which is that gas piston. It sat really low in the base where it was almost touching the damn floor, and it also doesn't provide much clearance either from the ground to the bottom of the chair. So I do advise Boulies to get a different gas lift, a little bit longer, taller hydraulic piston for this model to bring the bottom or base of the chair a little bit higher up off the ground. As for a warranty, you do have 2 years of limited warranty coverage, which is okay for a chair in this price point. Not bad, not great either. And if you just don't like your chair, you do have a 14-day return policy. And in case you're wondering what kind of foam is in the back and crack support, you do have 100% cold cure foam, which is good stuff. It's like memory foam, but a little bit more dense and doesn't have as much memory, so it's not really going to sink in, be as squishy. It's a lot more firm and holds its position, but still very comfortable. As for back and crack support, we're going to start with the butt padding, which I think is very good. When you press it with your hand, you're going to be thinking, this isn't going to be the most comfortable chair in the world because you can push your hand in pretty far. However, when you actually distribute your weight properly with your buns, your crack, your rump, your tuchus, that makes this a very comfortable chair because you have that cold cure foam, which doesn't have much give or response to your input, to your body. However, it is soft enough to where it provides good support. One thing I did notice that I really did like is that design where it's not very aggressively bolstered, but more wide. So if you have larger thighs or you're just a larger individual, which in that case, you should be going for the max version of this chair. But if you did get this chair and maybe you're a little bit more stocky, say you're short, but you're plump as well, this is going to be good for your lower section because your legs aren't going to be squeezed in there. And my initial fears were unwarranted. I'm going to give crack support an 8 out of 10. Repeat, 8 out of 10. As for back support, this is where we run into a little bit of an issue. It's only an issue if you don't like the way the chair feels right out of the box. If you do, it is a hell of comfortable chair because the lumbar support sits right in the small of your back and provides a good amount of support for you. However, if this doesn't fall right in line with your back, those two dial knobs for the lumbar adjustment, one is supposed to be for how aggressive the lumbar support is. How far does it push into your back? And the other one is to lift it up or down because everyone's torsos are different heights and you want to align that with the small of your back to support your spine, to get that lumbar support in there. And you simply cannot do that with this chair. One of the knobs did absolutely nothing. Seriously, nothing at all. And the other knob that's supposed to be for placement or height only went up or down about a ½ inch, but in practice, it doesn't do anything in comparison to other chairs with adjustable lumbar support. Having said that, I would strongly recommend looking at the dimensions of this chair, which I'm gonna do you a solid and pop it up on screen right here so you don't have to go to the website and look it up yourself. Even if you're not a bigger individual, I would still pop for the max, which is the chair I'm not sitting in, because as you can see, I'm 5'11" here and my head is well over the top. And even though I'm not a very large individual either, I'm not super wide, I'm not a big buck stallion, I'm more of a Clydesdale pony. And this chair isn't uncomfortable, but I do feel like the max would have been a more comfortable version for me. And at only $40 more, that's the version that I recommend my audience pop for. And as for the included pillows, you only have one since this chair has built-in lumbar support. You're not going to have one for your lower back, which I do prefer internal built-in lumbar support versus having a lumbar pillow. Those never seem to get positioned right, and it's just another external pillow to juggle with. The neck one does feel incredibly soft and supple. The material it's upholstered in is kind of a suede Alcantara material, very squishy, feels very nice. I will say it's a little bit softer than I like, but I am able to get it right there in the curvature of my neck, which does feel very good and makes this chair actually usable for me, because if I take this off, oh, that's not comfortable. See, I'm 5'11", and this is pressed up right against the back of my skull. That ain't fun for anybody. Also, it would be kind of nice if it didn't have this strap and it was magnetized like the Anda seat back there, where you can just throw this pillow at the chair and it snaps on magnetically. That's just a fun little thing to do. Also, it's good for adjustment because you can move it wherever you want it. You don't have to do the sound effect. It just helps. So as for the verdict, do I recommend the Boulies Master Series? Is it the master of chairs out there? I would advise my audience, even if you are a smaller individual and you don't need a big and tall chair, going for the max version. So not the standard, I'm kind of a tiny guy chair I'm sitting in right now, but the max version. It's only $40 more, which is surprising. It's such a small price difference considering it's more materials, it's heavier, so it's more logistics, shipping weight from the company. $40 more. get the max. Materials is up to you. I didn't test the Napa leather, but I will say the price difference is so huge. Unless you're a big baller, if you're balling on a budget, I'd recommend going for either the cloth, if you're somebody that spills a lot, or you're somebody that lives in a very cold or hot environment. But if you want that appearance of leather, just go with the artificial PU leather. It looks like real leather to the naked eye, especially through camera. Your viewers aren't going to be like, oh, you're sitting in fake leather. Not that anybody really gives a shit about that. If they do, you need better viewers. Get a different audience that isn't clowning you about what kind of chair you're sitting in. But even still, I do have to say the lack of adjustment with these lumbar dials is a huge shortcoming or area of improvement. And if that applies to the Max series as well, then that is a reason for me not to recommend this chair, considering a major factor when purchasing an office or gaming chair. Keep in mind, gaming chairs are just a type of office chair, is going to be adjustment. So being able to dial in the armrests and the angle of recline and the lumbar adjustment, and the last one I just said, lumbar adjustment, you don't really have any adjustment with those dials. That is a huge problem, considering direct competitors in the same price point do have very adjustable lumbar, whether it's in the form of an external pillow, which I really don't like that route, but even internal lumbar support, for example, the AndaSeat, which I reviewed on the channel previously. When you start turning that dial, yeah, you got to crank it quite a few times, but you can feel that pillow moving up and down underneath the fabric of the chair. Having said that, I have heard nothing but good things about Boulies, that they're comfortable, and they reached out to me. I'm glad they did. This chair is stupid comfortable, and it is linked in the description below alongside an exclusive discount for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes. Drop in the comment section below your opinion of this chair and what you're parking your back and cracking while you're playing games. Are you sitting in a bar stool? Are you sitting in a hammock, a Barca lounger? Or do you just rappel down from the ceiling like Peter Parker to play upside down? I'll play on Tongue Twizzler with Mary J. Wiggity Watson, and I will see you directly. I'm specifically speaking to you one-on-one. I will see you tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at GamerHeaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of GamerHeaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv, where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding. Starting June, I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting GamerHeaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.